Overcast skies and a brisk breeze greeted competitors and spectators at the start of the Toyota Dealer 400. The race traditionally starts in front of the Leidenberg Toyota in the town's main street. Roads are blocked off in the town centre and crowds start arriving from early in the morning to nab the best vantage points. There's plenty of last-minute activity from teams and rising tension as the minutes tick away and the start time approaches. Carrying Toyota's hopes in the race provides extra pressure, but a calm Anthony Taylor was simply looking for a good result.
I think we've got the speed and the pace. The Toyota's been very good. As we've seen over the last couple of events, we've had it on pole numerous times and led the last few races, but just haven't been able to put the whole thing together to pull off a win. So I'm hoping that this weekend here with the Toyota sponsored event is going to be our chance to win.
Behind Taylor and Houghton, there was going to be some frenetic activity with just 3 seconds separating 3 Donaldson Nissan Navaros.
It's very close. I don't know how it happens after 100 kilos. It just shows you how competitive it is in the SP class at the moment, you know, and we're like 40 seconds behind Anthony, and I think it's going to be a great day for the spectators and for everybody.
Ford Racing's former champion Neil Woolridge was gearing himself up for a long day at the office.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. Well, I'll say long. I think a lot of time was going to be wasted, if we could say wasted, because there's quite a few D controls, and we've got two 15-minute DSPs as to normally having only one 15 minutes. So it's going to be a long time out there, but the actual race distance is not that long. But in saying that, I think they've probably got something in store for us in the second lap. I believe there's quite a rough section we're going through. And even the prologue, which we did yesterday, was very demanding on the car. So I'll be surprised if you don't see a lot of cars falling out today.
Veteran Nardis Alberts was both surprised and delighted with his second place in the special vehicle prologue.
Yes, I was. I didn't do 2 races, and we're back now. And what I like about this position I'm in, I'm the first 2-wheel drive on the road, which is quite nice.
Also happy with his lot was Class P leader David White in the Ruhr Combat. Third among the Special Vehicle Brigade was a handy position for David and brother Gary.
Yes, the prologue went excellent yesterday. We're leading Class P. We're in front in the points and with the prologue yesterday. And our competition is 25 seconds behind us, so it's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight.
There is always plenty of interaction between competitors and crowds at the ABSA off-road events, and with the start just moments away, excitement was reaching fever pitch. Crowds were lined up on both sides of the street, and kids with their Toyota flags were gearing up for some exciting action.
Prologue winners Anthony Taylor and Robin Houghton were the first car flagged away by Deputy Clerk of the Course Richard Leake. Off-road races are run on what is known as real time, and cars set off according to their prologue performances. Taylor and Houghton set off 46 seconds ahead of the trio of Donaldson Nissan Navaros, who were separated by only 3 seconds.
It was frenetic stuff, and the crowds were loving every moment of it. It was flat out from the word go, with the 3 Nissans chasing after Taylor and Houghton. Behind them, Hichu and Jaap de Bruin with the 5th production car to get underway, and right on their heels were Special Vehicle Prologue winners Evan Hutchison and Achim Bergman.
Highveld 400 winners Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen were looking for another good result and led away 2 more Toyota crews in Hein Latergan and Chris Birkin in the second of the Castrol Toyota factory entries, and the experienced Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst in the RFS Toyota Hilux.
Thomas Rundle and Stavros Giannakis were the first of the factory turbo diesel Ford Rangers to get underway, along with Nardis Alberts and Jeff Minott.
Out on the route, there was early drama. Duncan Fast and Rolf Pitchford started 46 seconds behind Anthony Taylor and Robin Houghton, but were about to move into an early lead. The unfortunate Castrol Toyota crew were changing the wheel on the side of the track when the Donaldson Nissan Navara steamed past under full sail. Ivar Tollefsen and Quinn Evans also got past, and Taylor and Houghton were quickly down to 3rd place.
The motorite pair of Evan Hutchison and Achim Bergman picked up an early place when they went past Hichu and Jaap de Bruin in the Micron Excel Toyota Hilux. The 4x4 Motorite Revo 1 was running comfortably at the front of the special vehicle field, with the De Bruins giving chase.
Bridges offer good vantage points from which to watch the action, and there was plenty of it. As was expected, the pace was fast and furious, and Alfie Cox and Jürgen Schroeder were chasing after the De Bruins and had the Highveld 400 winners, Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen, chasing after them. Hein Lateghan and Chris Birkin were also in full flight in the second of the Castrol Toyota factory entries, and were closing in on Berthold and Vermeulen. Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst were also in on the action, with a little gap between them and Thomas Rundle and Stavros Giannakis in the first of the factory Ford Rangers. Nardis Alberts and Jeff Minott were the meat in the Ford sandwich, with Neil Woolridge and Kenny Shorthammer chasing the bat. Right on their heels were David and Gary White and Christian Deploy and Henk Janssen van Vieren, with one heck of a race starting to develop.
Among the special vehicles, a terrific battle had developed for 4th, 5th and 6th as well. Leading the little train of cars were reigning Class B champions Johan and Etienne Besaidnout in the Adenko Bat. Shamir Variawa and Siegfried Rousseau had taken the Class A total porter ahead of Class P pair Johan van Staden and James Rousseau, while Leroy Polter and Rob Howie were way out in front in Class E in the Ferodo Nissan hardbody.
There was plenty of water available for those doing the camping bit, with leaden skies also threatening rain. That was of no concern to Simon Beckett and Tim Curtis, who were more interested in keeping the Century Racing Bat at the head of the Class B field. The Bat was sounding a little rough, and Beckett and Curtis were being caught by Mpumalanga-based brothers Johan and Werner Horn, who were running at the front of the Class D field in the Malalan Toyota Land Cruiser. The Horn brothers were having their first outing since winning Class D on the Toyota 1000 Desert Race.
The pace at the front of the field had not slackened off. Newly crowned SA champions Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford were still running out in front in the Donaldson Nissan Navara. They had a little cushion to play with, but were now being chased by Anthony Taylor and Robin Houghton, who'd taken the Castrol Toyota Hilux ahead of the Donaldson Nissan of Ivar Tollefson and Quinn Evans.
Now running third on the road, the Tollefson-Evans-Donaldson Nissan was coming under pressure from Hugo and Jaap de Bruin. After some disappointing outings of late, the De Bruins were having one of their better outings in the Micron XL Toyota Hilux. It was action all the way, with Hein Lateghan and Chris Birkin trying to find a way around Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen.
The Motorite Revo 1 of SA champions Evan Hutchinson and Achim Bergman was still running steadily at the front of the special vehicle field. They were looking comfortable, but steaming along behind them were Nardis Alberts and Jeff Minott, who were enjoying themselves hugely in the Rapsa Bat. Alfie Cox and Jürgen Schroeder were also looking good in the SP Laser Nissan Navara, but had the RFS Toyota Hilux of Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst in hot pursuit.
Former SA champions Neil Woolridge and Kenny Shorthammer picked up a place or two in the turbo diesel Ford Ranger, but were under attack from Hannes Grobler and Jean Moore. A puncture cost the Nissan pair early time, and they were fighting their way back up the pecking order. Also going along well in the RFS Toyota Hilux were Pretoria University student Christian Deploy and Henk Janssen van Vieren. Deploy and Van Vieren are in their first season in the Premier SP class, with the highlight of their year, third place in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race in Botswana.
Progress for former SA champion Shamir Variawa and Siegfried Rousseau was often on the spectacular side, but trouble was not far off for the Total Porter crew. Behind them, there was a great tussle going on between Mike Whitehouse and Matthew Carlson, and David and Gary White, as well as Nick and Ryan Harper, with only seconds separating these three crews.
There was a little excitement amongst the Class P frontrunners when championship leaders David and Gary White overshot a 90-degree left turn. That allowed reigning champions Johan and Etienne Besaidnout in the Adenko Bat to nip ahead of the Ruhr Combat. Streaming along behind the Besaidnout brothers and the White brothers were Johan van Staden and James Rousseau in the KEC Bat, with the situation tailor-made for drama.
the drama that unfolded was captured from the copter. Chasing after the Besaidnout brothers, the White brothers decided to take a little detour and get a good run at a water splash. Steaming up on their port side were Johan van Staden and James Rousseau, who almost rammed the Rurcon bat amidships. It was a close call, and all van Staden and Rousseau got for their trouble was a thorough soaking.
Matters were less stressful for Kobus van Tonder and Rian Guelpa in the Unifreight Ford Ranger. While the Harry Smith-based pair were making steady progress, it was the end of the line for Shamir Variawa and Siegfried Rousseau in the Total Porter. A broken radiator and a damaged pulley brought their race to an abrupt halt.
The first car into a very dusty designated service point at the end of the first of 3 loops that made up the race was the Donaldson Nissan Navara of Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford. They had a 35-second cushion over prologue winners Anthony Taylor and Robin Houghton in the first of the Castrol Toyotas. Behind them, the second Castrol Toyota in the hands of Hein Latergan and Chris Birkin had made up 5 places to slot into third.
Highveld 400 winners Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen had also made up a couple of places in the Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux. Cars were starting to stream into the designated service area one after the other, with Chris Visser and Japie Badenhorst right behind the Atlas Copco car in the RFS Toyota Hilux. Hot on the heels of Visser and Badenhorst were special vehicle leaders Evan Hutchinson and Achim Bergman in the Motorrite Revo 1 4x4.
All was well with Foss and Pitchford, but at DSP there was a lot of competitor unhappiness brewing.
No, we've had quite a good clean run. The guys in front of us have got punctures. We've just tried to stay on the road, keep it together. But there's been a lot of confusion at the decontrols and recontrols with the timing, but at the moment everything's fine for us.
In the Castrol Toyota camp, the early puncture for Anthony Taylor and Robin Houghton was the only hiccup.
Yeah, puncture early on, unfortunately. We had a good tire change, only lost 2 places. But yeah, the rocks were in the road, nothing we could do. Problem first on the road.
South African champion Evan Hutchison is a feisty character at the best of times and wasn't exactly a happy campaigner.
Oh, disaster, man. We've had a good run so far. At the end of this loop, we got to the D control. There was no one there to give us our time, no time card. So we asked around, didn't know what to do. People waved us on. We got to the end of the D control, and we've lost about 7 or 8 positions until we were told, okay, they've got a time and we can go again. But it's put us way back. We're quite disappointed there.
A bit dusty, yes, and lot of cars quite tight together, and we let 2 cars or 3 cars go, and after that we were racing them and couldn't get past, so it's been messy. And then we went out on the wrong loop again when we came in here, so we went kilometer down and back again.
Over at the Ford camp, Kenny Scholthammer was happy with his morning at the office.
The car's great and everything's positive. We're having a good race, so we look forward to the rest of it.
The always cheerful Nandus Alberts was also in a very relaxed mood.
Hope you didn't take that. Such a battle to get.
Nandus, how's your morning been?
It's been brilliant. We, I think we passed about 4 cars on our way, and then we were behind Gary, and well, I was in his dust for too long, and I hit a rock, so I got a puncture, unfortunately.
Very dusty out there.
Phew. The best I've seen, the best. I mean, look at the pits area. Gives you an idea of how dusty it is.
Reigning champions Johan and Etienne Besaidnout had taken over the Class P lead and were having fun.
It's we got lost before we came into the DSP, but furtherwise the route's very well marked and it's very fun and it's fast and it's technical and it's fun.
At the end of the first loop, Foss and Pitchford held a 35-second lead over Taylor and Houghton. The early results were dominated by SP class vehicles with just over 8 minutes covering the first 10 cars.
On the special vehicle front, there was a comfortable lead for Hutchinson and Bergman ahead of the Harpers. 6 of the top 10 cars were Class P runners.